The story begins when our MC, Kurose, a first-year high school student, stands in the infirmary with a forced smile and a broom in hand. In comparison, his classmates leave the cleaning job to him again. They joke like he is some special health committee member. They call him reliable and laugh, while he feels bad inside. He has a timid personality and gets pushed around a lot, but he still wants to speak up someday. Then a loud voice comes from behind the curtains, complaining about all the noise. It is the scary senior with the fierce eyes, and she tells everyone to get out or die. The boys panic and apologize right away. Kurose freezes because this is the scary Himiya-senpai, whom everyone fears. She often stays in the infirmary, probably skipping class, so Kurose only meets her sometimes during his duties. While he thinks this, the scary queen suddenly smiles brightly and asks if he is being forced to clean again. The MC is shocked because she is so kind to him for some reason. She steps closer and asks why he looks upset, and he blushes before saying he cannot take this anymore. Hayamiya seems surprised and asks if he is okay. The next day, on his way to school, Kurose thinks about the scary senior who is strangely kind to him. He remembers how she helped him with the cleaning yesterday and told him they should finish it together quickly. He starts to believe that maybe Himiya-senpai is not actually scary, but he stops when he notices the same boys causing trouble again early in the morning. Suddenly, footsteps appear beside him, and Himiya-senpai suddenly shouts at the boys for blocking the path. The boys, terrified, run off while apologizing. She calmly watches them running. Kurose realizes she is still as scary as everyone says and takes back what he thought earlier. Then she notices him standing there and waves with a smile, asking if he wants to go to school with her. He freezes again and thinks about how she is always kind to him, so the two of them walk to school together. Everyone around them stares because they have only ever interacted in the infirmary before, and the situation feels strange to him. He gathers his courage and asks why she is so kind to him. She pauses, smiles brightly, and asks what he thinks. The lad feels overwhelmed because it seems impossible that she would feel that way toward him. She then cheerfully says it is because he always cleans the infirmary. He is shocked at her words. She suddenly runs toward school and tells him to hurry because the bell is about to ring. He follows her, feeling both disappointed and happy at once, because even though her reason is simple, walking to school with her still feels like a big win. On the way to school, Himiya-senpai suddenly notices a cat sleeping by the road and excitedly calls the silent hero to look at it. He smiles and agrees that the cat is adorable. Suddenly, two boys rush past and bump into him hard, knocking him to the ground. Senpai shouts at him in concern, and the boys give a quick, fake apology and try to run. The senpai, like a walking threat, grabs one by the collar and forces them to apologize properly with her scary glare. The boys panic, give a real apology, and run away again. Kurose tries to brush it off. He thinks that Himiya-senpai is truly terrifying after all. She turns to him and asks if he is hurt, and he laughs nervously while saying she does not need to worry, but she notices his scraped hand and becomes shocked when she sees it bleeding a little. She quickly leads him to a nearby park so he can wash it. Kurose rinses his hand under the tap and screams in pain while the pretty senpai searches for something. She finds bandages and tells him to sit so she can treat him. She gently holds his hand and wraps the bandage. The cutie comments that it looks painful, and he screams from the sting. In his mind, he becomes even more flustered because her hand feels soft, her face is very close, and the whole moment feels overwhelming. Kurose feels like he's drowning in puberty when senpai's eyes meet his as she finishes wrapping his hand. When she asks if it still hurts, he panics and blurts that he's fine, while internally reeling from how close her face just was. Then he notices the bandage covered in tiny kitten designs, and can't help thinking how absurdly cute it looks. At the school gate, a bald teacher yells at them for being 15 minutes late, lecturing them about getting lax at the start of a new semester. Kurose tries to explain, but the teacher snaps that he doesn't want excuses. Worse, he assumes they were acting like some love-struck couple fooling around in the morning. Annoyed, senpai pointedly pretends she didn't hear him and says his shiny glare made it hard to understand. The teacher, now furious, orders them both to stay after school for cleaning duty. Kurose panics. He got dragged into this even though none of it was his fault. He apologizes to senpai, blaming himself for making them late, all while admiring how she isn't scared of the teacher at all. Calm as ever, she tells him not to worry since she already gave the teacher a solid verbal hit. Then she smiles brightly, saying that walking to school with him was fun, so they're even. Kurose is left stunned once more, thinking that Himiya-senpai is somehow both terrifying and unbelievably cute. The scene shifts to their after-school punishment, and it turns out to be pool maintenance. Kurose thinks about how unlucky it feels to be assigned this, and he feels a little sorry. Then he notices Himiya-senpai's long, beautiful legs as she walks ahead, and his mood suddenly flips. He starts thinking that getting stuck with after-school cleaning might actually be the best thing ever. Senpai tells him to hurry up and clean, and he snaps back to reality, replying in a flustered way. He remembers that Senpai arrived late earlier because of him, and that this is definitely not the time to be happy about the situation. He watches her scrub the tiles and worries if she is upset about having to stay late. She had said that going to school together was fun, yet pool cleaning is a drag, so he hopes she isn't annoyed. The haughty Senpai turns around with a bright smile and calls out to him. He answers nervously. Her smile makes him feel warm as she tells him maybe this whole punishment isn't so bad. He gets flustered and bows his head like a polite kid, blurting out that he is having fun too. She laughs, and he feels relieved because it means she isn't mad. He thinks again about how kind she really is and how unscary she is. He feels excited because today it is just the two of them doing pool cleaning, which means they might be able to talk more. His mind starts racing as he admires her. He thinks he doesn't know anything about her yet, and he wants to ask about her favorites, what she does after school, and all kinds of things. He even imagines getting a little closer to her as he blushes at his own thoughts. But just as he is drowning in those hopeful ideas, a group of boys who also received cleaning punishment show up at the pool. Instead of working, they complain loudly about how cleaning sucks and decide to play around. The poor MC watches them walk in and freezes in frustration as he realizes that so many people have arrived and his peaceful moment has completely disappeared. He calls out to Himiya Senpai, who now looks tense and scary. He panics, assuming she is angry that more people have come. Kurose convinces himself that Senpai must just hate being around other people. Trying to calm her, he suggests they ignore the boys and clean on their own, but she rejects the idea instantly. His confusion only grows. Did she want alone time with him too? Before he can figure it out, Senpai whirls toward the boys and unleashes her usual intense threats. They immediately fold and apologize. Only then does Kurose realize why she'd looked angry earlier, and he finally accepts the truth. Himiya Senpai is genuinely terrifying. The boys finish their part of the pool cleaning at lightning speed and run home immediately. The scary Senpai stays behind, still looking irritated, and the atmosphere feels heavy. The innocent young lad nervously thinks that both of them ended up in an unlucky situation today. She checks her reflection on her phone and, in her usual dramatic way, complains about her soaked clothes and hair. He feels like she might actually file an emotional distress case because she sounds so serious. She quietly accepts the situation, ties her wet hair with calm confidence, and removes her jersey. The sight looks almost divine to him. After that, she decides to switch her mood and focus on the cleaning. Her wet clothes start to grow slightly transparent. Kurose notices it and panics inside. He quickly turns his head away, feeling his brain melting as he has no idea where to look. He is terrified she might think he was staring, and imagines that he would not survive her anger. He takes off his jersey in a hurry and offers it to her to cover up. She becomes confused at first, then protects herself with her hand, and then realizes why he did it. She awkwardly thanks him for being considerate, and admits that it was a cool thing to do. Kurose thinks to himself that it's no big deal, just a bit damp from sweat, and at least they're okay for now. The senpai covers herself properly with his jersey, pulling it up to her nose, and tells him to hurry and finish cleaning. She asks him to grab the bucket, and he nods, thinking that after everything, he's finally alone with her. She smiles brightly as she dashes to work, and he can't help thinking how cute she looks. Still, his mind drifts to earlier. What did she mean by the "that's not it" thing? He nervously calls her out, asking what she meant before the water splashed on her. She holds the brush in his hands and smiles like a goddess, teasing him that it's still a secret. He protests, shocked and frustrated. She stays silent, then playfully pushes him with the brush, telling him to hurry and finish. They continue cleaning, enjoying the moment. She wets him with the water pipe, and he yells while she laughs, clearly enjoying herself. Later, the panicked lad stands in front of the infirmary door, thinking that cleaning with Himiya Senpai was super fun. The changing room is locked and no one is around at this hour, so he decides to use the infirmary. But when he opens the door, he is astonished to see her changing. His eyes widen and he immediately apologizes before shutting the door. As he tries to run, Himiya Senpai calmly places a hand on his shoulder. She warns him to forget what he just saw. He shouts in fear that he will, though deep down, he knows there's no way he could. The scene shifts to the next day when Kurose walks down the school stairs carrying his books. He thinks that he can't forget what happened yesterday. He rushed home after that incident and has no idea what face to make when he sees Himiya Senpai again. Suddenly, he freezes when he sees her in front of him. She's wearing a hoodie and looks intimidatingly scary. That's Haimiya-senpai, just as intimidating and scary as ever. They pass by each other, and Kurose thinks he should at least say something. He tries to calm down, telling himself to do his best to greet her. He nervously says, "Good afternoon," but she ignores him completely. She doesn't reply and keeps walking beside him towards the stairs. Fear bursts in Kurose's mind. She's really mad about yesterday, and this is the worst. He thinks about her beauty and feels disappointed, recalling that he had hoped they might have gotten closer. Later, sitting in class, Kurose looks sad and wonders whether he has been misunderstood somehow. The cute MC thinks to himself that, after all, he's just a health committee member and has no real connection to senpai. He still doesn't understand why the infamous scary senpai is nice to him. It feels vague and confusing. He remembers her words, asking if he always does the infirmary cleaning. No matter what she thinks of him, he knows he needs to properly apologize for making her uncomfortable. He walks to the infirmary, holding the door, wondering if she's in the nurse's office as usual. He sees her sitting there, using her phone, and his heart jumps. He nervously calls her, and she responds with a cute, teasing tone, asking if he's cleaning again today. He's shocked and wonders what's wrong with her. Stammering, he tries to explain what happened yesterday and asks if she's mad because she didn't respond to him in the hallway. She looks tired, adjusting her glasses, and explains she forgot her contacts, had her earphones in, and probably didn't notice. Poor MC is too relieved to speak. She apologizes for worrying him, and he feels glad it's back to normal. She calmly says yesterday was an accident and not his fault. The Anger Queen teasingly adds that if he doesn't forget it, she'll kill him. Kurose thinks it's a relief that things are normal again. He admits he was worried she might have started to hate him just when they were finally getting closer. She laughs, teasing him for hating that idea so much. Kurose covers his face, flustered, insisting it's not like that, even as she continues laughing. The next day, on the way to school, the soft bean MC overhears other students talking excitedly. They mention a Rhine message and how hilarious the video was. Kurose thinks about Rhine and checks his own phone. As he expected, he had no one to exchange messages with, only family notifications and coupons. He realizes he still hasn't made any friends since starting high school. He recalls senpai in his thoughts, but shakes off the thought, reminding himself he doesn't know how senpai feels. And the idea of asking for her contact info makes him panic. He imagines her teasing him, asking the reason he wants her contact info. He wonders what kind of Rhine user Haimiya-senpai is. Maybe someone who leaves messages on read, gives a cold shoulder, or ignores people completely. Suddenly, he panics as he feels a presence beside him. It's Haimiya-senpai. The trouble goddess greets him with her usual bright smile, stumbling over her words. She says good morning and asks if they should walk to school together. Kurose feels his heart explode at how cute they look side by side. And of course, it happens right when he's thinking about her again. After yesterday's changing room incident, he keeps replaying everything, but now she shows him something funny on her phone and laughs so much that he realizes she doesn't hate him at all. She treats him normally like any acquaintance, and asking for contact info should be normal too. With that thought, he clenches his fist, trying to hype himself up. Then she casually asks if he wants to exchange Rhine. He freezes. She mistakes his silence for rejection, and her expression darkens instantly. Panicking, he blurts out that it's not that, he absolutely wants to. Inside, he can't believe he's really exchanging Rhine with senpai. She even explains that last time, during pool cleaning, he ran off too fast and she couldn't contact him. And besides, they're friends, so they should exchange contacts, of course. The word friends hits him like a warm punch. He's so happy he nearly vibrates. They exchange Rhine with a little bing, and she giggles. Senpai notices he has no icon, so she sets a cute crying face one for him. He's embarrassed, but also thrilled. Now he has Haimiya-senpai's Rhine. He even sees her first name, Mio, for the first time and blushes because it's cute, soft, and perfect. But when he looks up, she's the one blushing now. He asks what's wrong, and she brushes it off, hurrying him along. Then she randomly slaps the top of his head, and he staggers, half in pain, half in heaven. The scene shifts to Kurose walking down the corridor the next day, and he overhears two boys gossiping about Haimiya-senpai. They laugh as they claim someone saw her smoking. The rumor shocks him. He tries to shake it off on his way to class, telling himself she may be scary sometimes, but she would never turn into a delinquent. Still, the worry sticks. He heads to the infirmary and asks Aya-sensei if Haimiya-senpai came by. She casually tells him Mio is in the courtyard. Kurose panics even more as he rushes outside, repeating that it's probably a baseless rumor. But the moment he steps into the courtyard, courtyard, he freezes. Haimiya-senpai is sitting on a bench with what looks like a cigarette in her mouth and an entire pack in her hand. He freaks out, convinced she is really smoking. She notices him and casually asks if he wants one, which sends him into even more panic, until he finally realizes the cigarette is actually Ramune candy. She explains she's addicted to the crunchy kind that looks real. Kurose sits beside her with a huge sigh of relief, thinking anyone who doesn't know her would definitely mistake it for smoking. He tells her about the rumor he overheard. She isn't bothered and says she gets all kinds of rumors, true or not, and never really cares. He admits he's glad because he had been worried all morning about the thought of her smoking. She jokingly picks up the candy like a real cigarette and asks what he would do if she were smoking. Kurose panics again, unsure if she's serious, until she laughs and tells him it's just a joke. She ends it by saying smoking underage is a complete no. Kurose asks Senpai if she usually feeds the koi in the courtyard and if she likes them. She tilts her head, staring at the fish, and explains that she's not exactly liking them, and more like wondering what the fish are thinking or imagining what they might taste like. Kurose freezes, his brain short-circuiting. He thinks it's terrifying. For a moment, they just stand there in awkward silence. Determined to be helpful, Kurose quickly checks about koi and figures out how they're supposedly eaten. He blurts out the information, telling her that if the fishy smell is removed, the flesh is bouncy and even used in soups or simmered dishes. Scary-senpai immediately scowls, flustered, and says she was only joking and doesn't really want to know. She gets up, admitting that her humor never seems to land with him. Kurose sighs, thinking that jokes from Kansai people are confusing and that some of her jokes are genuinely scary. The scene shifts to Kurose with his headphones on as his sister calls for him. He shocks and fumbles to take them off. His eldest sister Sora teases him for being too startled and asks if he was watching something inappropriate. She quickly moves on to ask if he is free this Sunday. Kurose groans inwardly and thinks about how persistent she is. She explains that a friend canceled plans for a movie and the extra ticket would go to waste if he does not go. He suggests that their younger sister, Umi, should go, but Sora points out that Umi is busy, unlike him. Then she asks Umi directly if she is free, and Umi replies that she has club activities. Kurose wonders what movie it is and learns it is a hardcore horror film. Sora explains that she has 2 tickets and that Kurose should invite someone. She hints that he is in high school now and should have friends he could bring along, and then leaves. Kurose freezes and immediately thinks about Senpai. They are not close enough to hang out casually yet, and inviting her feels impossible. He panics at the thought, but then realizes that if she thinks of him as a friend, it might actually be okay. He recalls the movie is scary, and Senpai is creepy as well, a perfect duo. He opens his phone and sees a message from Senpai thanking him for adding her. His heart skips a beat when he notices she reads his next message instantly. He panics even more, knowing there is no turning back. He finally types a message asking if she is free this Sunday and waits nervously. When she replies, asking for the reason, he explains about the extra movie ticket. Her response makes his heart leap, and he feels a wave of relief wash over him. Meanwhile, Senpai lies in bed, eyes wide and sparkling, looking at her phone and smiling. She blushes when she reads the text. It's something unbelievable to her. Next, the two of them are going out together, and Kurose knows it will be a day full of surprises.